Across several sectors of the front line, signs of instability are beginning to emerge. What initially appeared to be routine positional fighting is now evolving into something more dynamic. Localized breakdowns in defensive cohesion, disrupted communications, and fragmented unit coordination are creating pockets of chaos along key sections of the line. And while none of these developments alone define a full collapse, together they raise an important question. Are we witnessing isolated incidents, or the early stages of a wider structural breakdown? Modern defensive lines are not just a single trench. They are layered systems designed to absorb and slow down enemy advances. These layers typically include forward observation posts, trench networks, minefields, and fallback positions. The effectiveness of such a system depends on coordination. Each layer supports the others, and when functioning properly, this structure allows defenders to contain attacks and stabilize the front line. But when one part of the system begins to fail, the effects can quickly spread. A defensive collapse rarely happens instantly. It usually begins with small disruptions. A unit loses communication. A supply route is cut. An observation post is destroyed. Individually, these issues may seem manageable, but when multiple disruptions occur simultaneously, they begin to affect the entire system. Coordination weakens, reaction time slows, and gaps begin to appear. One of the key factors driving this instability is the constant presence of drones. Reconnaissance drones monitor movement across large areas. Any shift in position is quickly detected. Once identified, targets can be engaged within minutes. This creates a highly transparent battlefield. Units can no longer move freely without being observed. And when movement is restricted, defensive flexibility decreases. Logistics is another critical element. Frontline units depend on a steady flow of ammunition, fuel, and reinforcements. When supply routes are disrupted, even well-positioned units can lose effectiveness. Delays in resupply can limit artillery support. Fuel shortages can immobilize vehicles, and without reinforcements, depleted units struggle to hold positions. Over time, these logistical issues contribute to weakening defensive cohesion. Command and control systems are essential for maintaining order on the battlefield. When communication lines are disrupted, coordination becomes difficult. Units may not receive updated orders, support elements may not respond in time, and local commanders may be forced to make decisions without a full picture of the situation. This lack of coordination increases the risk of disorganized movement and defensive gaps. One of the most important dynamics in such situations is the cascading effect. When one unit retreats, adjacent units may be exposed. To avoid encirclement, they may also reposition. This chain reaction can spread along the front line, and what begins as a local issue can quickly affect a much larger area. This is not a sudden collapse. It is a gradual unraveling. At this stage, several outcomes remain possible. The defensive line may stabilize as reserves are brought in to reinforce weak sectors. Alternatively, continued pressure could lead to further breakdowns. In some cases, counterattacks may attempt to regain lost positions and restore cohesion. The outcome depends on how quickly the situation is addressed, and whether coordination can be restored before the instability spreads further. The developments along the front line highlight the fragile nature of modern defensive systems. They are strong when coordinated, but vulnerable when disrupted. What we are seeing is not necessarily a full collapse, but a series of interconnected breakdowns that, if left unaddressed, could evolve into something more significant. In modern warfare, control of the battlefield is not only about holding ground, it is about maintaining structure under constant pressure. And once that structure begins to weaken, restoring it becomes increasingly difficult. For more updates and stories we didn't manage to include in this video, you can take a look at our interactive news map. The link is waiting for you in the description. We appreciate you watching, and thanks to everyone who's already using the map to follow the latest developments.